Okay, this looks like a whole CNN set. We brought all the tools. We are no short of any toy in this place. So, Ryan, welcome to Seniors Hub again, and welcome to the evening with.
Thank you, Nelson. It's great to be back here. It feels like second home here in Juba.
Yeah, because you've been coming here frequently when you are around, and also you attended the session with Firas, right?
That's right, yes.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a good time.
yeah,
You know, one of my first Saturdays in Juba when I moved here last year
yeah.
was here.
Yeah, I
I was
recall.
brought to see you,
Yes.
to see Nelson, and learn about this great place.
Yeah, so it's been, I think it's been slightly close to a year since then, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So welcome to the evening with, and today we kind of like talking about financial inclusion, especially the inclusion of youth and women. But before that, we'll spend some time talking about you, maybe for the benefit of those who are not on Twitter and who have been living in a cave for the past 1 year. Maybe you can just tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thank you very much. And thanks, everyone. It's a Saturday evening in Juba, and you're spending it with us. So I want to say I'm humbled, and I'm very much honored to have the chance to sit here. You know, when I think that, last time it was the Canadian head of mission.
Yes.
So as a Canadian, I'm proud to be up after him. But the people who have sat in this seat before me for this are some giants and making some incredible impacts here. For myself, I'm a Canadian ending up here in South Sudan. I've been coming and going from your country for about 7 years. Helping Kush Bank. I worked with a national NGO as well for a while. And last January, I showed up for our board meeting. And we were inducting a new chairman. And I came and I was packed with my overnight bag. And I thought I was going to spend 4, maybe 5 days here. And I next got back to North America in July, about 7 months later. So Juba and South Sudan became my home very, very quickly. And during that time, I was honored to take on a new role with the bank as their CEO and to lead an incredible team at 7 branches now across the country. And as you mentioned, for those of you not on Twitter, not only did I find an incredible life here in South Sudan, but I fell in love in South Sudan. I got married in South Sudan. A lot of good has come to me from this country. So I feel very compelled to give back and contribute in a substantive way, however I can, to helping to build this country. It's a special place.
Yeah, thanks. Talk me to a little bit about your experience prior to kind of like, because you're not from a traditional banking kind of experience, at least from the time that I met you. Exactly. You told me, what kind of roles did you occupy, or what is your profession, if you mind saying?
Sure. So what I can say is I started my career in government with the Government of Canada, and I spent a good amount of time working in Parliament and Ministry of Justice, and all of my roles kept leading me back to an international context. And I worked in university and college sector, and was enjoying. I was leading an international program in that context. But I kept getting dragged back to this part of the world, to East Africa in particular, to Somalia, to Somaliland, Kenya, Uganda. But South Sudan kept calling. And so that's how I kind of became more of a, embracing of this area geographically. But throughout that, the last 14 years or so, I've been a project finance specialist. So fixing projects, funding projects, developing projects, and creating impact through that. So not a traditional banker, more on the investment banking side, commercial banking that we're doing here. But we're learning as we go. I have a great team.
Yeah. So over the past 7 years, you've been, as you said, you've been coming and going. Just give me kind of a bird eye view perspective into the kind of the financial sector and the banking system in South Sudan.
Sure. Over the last 7 years, the development that I've seen, I would say it's development that hasn't happened fast enough in my sector. Canadians are known for being very polite, but I'm also known for being very impatient. So in this role, one of my directors is sitting here in the front row laughing very hard because she knows how impatient I am. But what I've seen is a sector that came in very hot, very heavy after your independence, and then, for various reasons, hit a wall, and has had a tough time turning around. And but there's need to move quickly, and there's need to develop quickly to support what's happening in this young country.
And, and I mean, because today we're kind of speaking about like financial inclusion of youth and women. When you look at the population of South Sudan, we're like roughly, I think, like 12 million, give and take. What is the banked and the unbanked kind of percentages in this country, based on the data and also the statistics?
Sure. So data is a bit hard to go by, but where we stand today, it's roughly 6% of the population are banked. I would say that's probably the lowest on earth. And another statistic is we have the highest rate of women-led households globally, I believe, and we have one of the highest youth populations globally. So then extrapolate out from that even farther, that typically about 1/3 of youth have a savings account globally. But in this section of Africa, it's 12% of youth. So when we dive down here in South Sudan, it's going to be even lower. So the rate of financial inclusion is shockingly low, and that's a problem.
So then when we kind of like talk about 6%, that is very low. The rest of the population, the 93 point something percent, like where do they keep their money? Or are they part of, how does the money circulate in that part of the sector?
So it circulates very informally. I mean, they're keeping money in their mattress. They're keeping it in a box under the bed. They're not storing it securely. And that also means that that money is not circulating through the economy. So we're not liquid. We can't move goods efficiently. You pay more for things at the market because we don't have this money flowing throughout the system to enable the ease of purchase, the ease of selling of goods. So it's a major impediment to growing and stabilizing the economy.
I mean, I think from the audience here, by show of hands, like how many people here have bank accounts? We're not going to ask you how much you have in it, so so it's kind of like that. So it's kind of like, this is a very privileged from the statistics. This is a very privileged group. Let me ask, how many of you had a bank account 3 years ago? Okay, 5 years? What about 7 years? So let me kind of a lot of the people joined the banking, kind of got banked in the last 5 years, 4 years in the audience here. So now, what is the average when someone, kind of a young person, opens a bank account at Kush Bank? What is the typical, or kind of like the average consumer, the average banker at Kush Bank today, if you look at them from the youth perspective?
From the youth perspective, so here's where things get interesting, Nelson. So why is youth banking so important, particularly in South Sudan? Well, let's talk about displacement, conflict, malnutrition, health issues. The rate of households that have youth leadership in them is significantly higher here because of that. So access to banking, climbing onto the financial ladder, isn't just about the bank account. It's about the savings account that goes along with it. It's about the health insurance, the auto insurance, the life insurance, all of these products that provide you stability. It's about being able to take that step, for the woman who's traveling, the woman in business who's traveling from here to Kampala, so that she's not carrying that money on the bus in her pocket. And liable to robbery or something worse, but she's using our services to move that from here to Kampala for her more efficiently and cost effectively as well. So this is what most of our clients are starting to look like now. We're talking less about corporate, and people like Rachel and her team are driving this one-by-one youth enrollment because we want to start capturing people as their students, helping them pay their fees. Working with companies like Zain and MTN and Mgarouche to start understanding spending patterns through the digital economy that's slowly growing here in the country, so that we can start offering credit whether that's for school fees or rent or different needs as they come up. So this is what the average youth client is looking like today.
Yeah. I would like to, George, can you turn the speaker this side? Because there are more people on this end. So I would like to kind of just we got a poll of people who got bank accounts. Maybe someone can, George or whoever, can take the mic around. I would just want to ask, like, take like 3 people. So what motivated you to get the bank account, and how has been your experience? I know a lot of people that the oldies, there are people who had bank accounts for 10 years, 15 at home, and there are people who just joined. So maybe you can give the mic.
Okay. Bank account like maybe 3 years ago. Okay, I was doing some work online, so I needed to do some payments to the major websites, all that. So that's when I had to create a bank account for the online payments, like Visa, all that. Though I had difficulty in it. Yeah, sometimes the payments don't go through. I don't know, is it sanctions, or I don't know what reason it is. Yeah, unless you use VPN, different ways, so the payment goes through.
So like without the VPN, your payment gets bounced?
Yeah, like even if you have in PayPal, sometimes you even don't access unless you change the location, something like that. So that's it.
Let's have someone else. Okay, I'll come back to you. The lady behind, I think, yeah, yourself, yeah. When did you have your first bank account?
8 years ago. I was 21.
By then?
Yes.
I don't want to guess your age. So, what motivated you to get the bank account?
So my family is split between South Sudan, Uganda, and the United Kingdom, and we needed to move money across, so that was the easier way to do it.
Yeah. And how has been your experience?
Currently, I don't have a bank account in South Sudan, surprisingly, because I'm still trying to figure one out. I'm told in this country, everywhere you go to get a bank account, you must present an employee, is it
A
a
letter
recommendation?
from your employer. Yeah.
So that hinders people like myself who are not employed to get bank accounts locally. But I was able to speak to Kush Bank. They told me I don't need a letter from an employer.
And to be clear, Kush Bank did not plant you there to do an ad, right? Okay. Yeah. Let's hear from the gentleman in front.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is James Mador, and one of the reasons that motivated me to get the bank account was that in 2019 I got employed and I started working. 2 years later, they finished without me having a single coin being saved. So, to my surprise, I was like, I think it's like I'm using all the energy and my effort without saving a single money. So I decided to open a bank account, and I think now, even if I may not have at least some more money, I have at least some basic money in my account. So it was one of the motives that led me to open a bank account, is to save some money in my account.
Okay. Is there anyone here who doesn't have a bank account? We'll want to hear from that perspective. Just by show of hands. You don't have a bank account, right? Maybe you can hear from the photographer. Yeah.
Okay, the first time I had bank account in 2014, 15, 16. But the reason which made me was the time when KCB and the Equity were shutting down the bank account. From that time, since until today, I decided to part away with a bank that I will never deposit my money. Because by the time in 2014, I was having money of 20,000 South Sudanese pound. By then, it was having a lot of value. Then when a bank decided to shut down with it, and by then I was in the state, they transferred to Juba. I tried my level best, then until I failed today to recover back my money. Then I decided to part away with a bank until today as I speak. I just bank only on this Momomo, but with not having 100% guarantee on it.
So like, how do you, like when someone pays you cash, you usually keep it in your pocket, or?
I keep my money, like, okay, let me just say, I give my example, because we do learn from the leaders, others, they keep their money inside their rooms or with them in their pocket. That's what I keep.
So you don't trust the banks that much?
I don't trust because of the recent experience which I had some years back.
Okay.
So currently, as Mark, that's the CEO, is speaking, which assurance are you giving to me currently, who is speaking here now for the bank?
Okay, thank you. So is there anyone else who wants to share experience before I hand it to Ryan? Yeah, let's get to the gentleman who just raised his hand.
Thank you.
I think I'll request the people there to come and occupy these seats. Yeah, we're not waiting for any other VIP. Yeah, let me hear from you, sir. Maybe you can just stand up or come closer.
Well, like one of the reasons why I don't want to open a bank account in South Sudan or whatever I am now, like, for example, banks in East Africa, like when you go and deposit your money, you know, like there's some rate, you know, like there's some rate they give you monthly or whatever, as long as your money is staying, right? But in South Sudan, like you deposit your money, it just stays there. You know, like it makes no sense. So if you have that money, like you can go and try to reinvest it, right? So why would you go and keep your money and you're broke? So it's better you use that money, invest it somewhere, and then you generate more money. So that's one of the reasons I don't want to keep my money just to stay without growing in the bank.
But
Thank you.
But if you keep that money in the house, what about all these requests for funeral, for what, for blah?
I don't keep it. So if I have money, I try to find something else to put my money on so that it grows.
What, for example, what could be something that is more useful to put your money? You buy cars or you buy animal? What makes sense for you?
Well, for me, I'm not to that extent of buying cars, but I just do some kind of side hustles and I generate more money for myself.
I mean, just say it.
No, sorry for that.
Okay, legal side hustle. Okay, Rana, I want to give it to you. What do you say to this? Like, we have an array of people here narrating their experience. From the fool me once, shame on you side, like people who are kind of totally now detached, from individuals who open bank accounts, the experience is not good. And from someone who's just clearly telling you, like, I put my money there, it's not earning me anything. I just kind of like want you to just speak to these experiences.
No, this is what we're hearing, and this is what we're having to respond to. So, you know, last year I came in and I looked at what the bank was doing, and it wasn't very much. We were moving money for NGOs. We weren't offering you any products. We were charging you when you want to put your money in, and we were charging you when you want to get your money back. It's not real banking to me. That's lazy banking. So I worked with my team. My deputy is here in the second row. He wanted to strangle me through all of these negotiations. And I said, we're getting rid of fees. I'm not charging people to take their money. I'm not charging people to give it back to them. If they want me to do something with it, like send a SWIFT, send a wire, move it to another part of the country, fine, we'll talk about a small fee. But for the safety and security of putting that money in the bank, it shouldn't cost you anything. That's a barrier to financial inclusion. So we've done away with that. But your question is a good one. Why would you give me your money if you're not going to gain anything from it? So we changed that as well. We have products now. You bring your money. You say, I want to leave my money with you for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. And we say, okay, my friend, this is how much we'll pay you. But we went one bit farther. And we went one bit farther because of the comment from the gentleman with the camera. Right. Why should I trust you? So what I do now is, if you say you're going to leave that money with me for 90 days, and I say I'm going to pay you $100 for that money, I give it to you today.
You get the $100 today?
On day one. Because you need to know from me and from my team that you can trust us. We have to take the risk on our books to build trust because of what happened in 2014. Because we're a new country, because we're a new financial system, we have to take the risk. We have to reach across and provide trust and build trust and comfort.
Like when you hear like issues here, someone said like because when we talk about the financial system, it's not only money here. Like there's a gentleman who is doing work online and receiving money through PayPal and through other days. Especially for the young people are seeking opportunities outside, and they want to see the interoperability. Like how much of South Sudan's name and reputation present kind of an impediment to, international financial linkages?
You know, a year ago when I started, I kept comparing the banking system here in South Sudan to an island because I felt like we had no connection. You had to swim for a very long time to reach the other shore to move your money. And today we've broken down a lot of those barriers at Kush because we've been transparent and we've built trust with our partners internationally. So now you can move money with us. You can do it much more effectively and much more quickly, particularly for those that are wanting to buy goods for import or export, more for import. By, I think, the end of this month, through our bank, we're connected to, I think with Afrexim, it's 550 banks globally. By the end of the year with IFC, with our partnership, it's another 5,000 banks globally. So this is what we're doing, but it takes time, right? And we had to build that trust with international partners, not just domestically with our clients, but with partners globally. So today we can finally say, yeah, we can move your money. We can do it effectively. Next week, we're bringing on board in our office in Dubai an expert on digital payments. So he's worked all over the world. He's been a VP, I think, with Citibank. This is the kind of caliber of people that we're bringing in to help solve these challenges. So you don't need a VPN to make a payment, and it's not going to bounce. We want to build something that's not put together with tape and glue. We need something that's built and it's sustainable and it'll hold water for the long term for you. So that means we have to bring the experts in to do that. And as a small bank, as a national bank, that's a lot for us to take on.
Yeah.
But as I said, you know, a few of these sessions ago when I was here with Faras and I was saying to him, you take the long term. You do what you need to do from the World Bank, but I got to take the short term.
The immediate.
Yeah, so we have to build things for today so that you can make those payments.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
I kind of wanted to, because this is, today the theme we're really having a discussion. That's why I will kind of bounce to the audience. And, you know, financial stability is about prosperity, it's about happiness. And I think that's something that is probably a lot of the youth here. So I will kind of like want to take the mic to the audience again. And this time I want to ask you, like, how does financial sustainability look like to you? Like for me, it changed. I mean, some few years back, I used to think like, I need 2K. If I get $2,000, I am good. So I kind of want to kind of go throughout the audience. Just we can have the mic again for different people. Just tell us what you do. And like, what is your how does financial sustainability look like to you? Is it a house? Is it a car? Is it how much do you want to have in your account for you to be able to feel financially sustainable? Or maybe it could be something that you don't want someone to mess up with your money. So George, we can take the mic again. And I think we can kind of like have a different rounds. The gentleman with the striped T-shirt, the brown one. Yeah, we can just tell us your name. Okay, let's come this end. Can we have someone from this side? Like, just how does financial sustainability look like to you? Anyone here? Okay, let's start from him. Like when you want to see financial sustainability, you want to see finance. Like, how does it look like to you?
Good evening once again, everybody. My name is James. Yes, financial. Financial to me is kind of the money. When you are earning in a job, you need to be putting at least like 70% of your money, and in case you don't have much responsibilities, you can save on a certain asset, or you think of initiating other businesses, say that it's afford you as you are continuing the job, and maybe with time you can be able to have confidence and much asset. This is what I think like of financial sustainability.
So you want to be able to have a job that you can save up to 70% of your pay.
Definitely, of course, because when you save 70% of your salary, it means that you're actually aware of what financial sustainability is. But it's very rare in our context here in South Sudan. You may find each one of us can use up to 100% of the salary. So it means
Or you
that
can use
person-
150% by borrowing.
to me, that thing I know with our employers is not allowed. But I may not know, I'm not familiar. But what I know is that we are always using our money up to 100%. So it's one of the challenge.
So there is no reserve.
Yes,
outside.
there is no result. So financial sustainability means that if the ability of one person to save is money like 70%, to me, this is the basic, I think.
Okay, good. Let's have another hand from anyone else who has any what does financial the gentleman with the black cap.
Thank you very much. I tend to believe there is nothing like financial sustainability. I mean, people should be yearning to get more and more and more. Once you feel like your financial sustainability is at place or you're comfortable, then you must be at your comfort zone. I'm one person who believes that, no, I need to get more and more. As much as you feel that you're comfortable wherever you are, is an encouragement, no.
How does it look like for you in South Sudan right now? When you want to, how much more makes sense to you?
As much as I can make. There's no target.
So bring those millions.
As much as they can come, let them come. Yeah, sure. If there was, people like Ryan wouldn't be here. People like, I know a lot of people around here who can be comfortably in their homes. But what do they do with their money? They still come out here and invest. So there's nothing like financial sustainability. No. Let the money come.
Do you think the youth are a bit complacent? Like, do you think the youth are a bit complacent as soon as they get a little bit of money?
I guess so. I guess so.
Okay, we'll take one more. Let's take this gentleman. He actually wrote a book about poverty, so it's very interesting. Let's take from him, and then we'll come to Ryan.
Okay. Okay, thank you for opportunity. I'm by name Tonglan Matiok. I'm the author of Poverty Robbed Me. To begin with, if we look at our contact as South Sudanese, I don't think we have financial stability because we live in a country where we have extended family. And if you have money, there are people to support. You cannot get a return in the business you are doing because you have to support this, you have to support that, and everyone is eyeing on you if you are making something. And I believe 90% of the country, they are not getting something like financial stability, to my opinion. Yeah.
So you think that it kind of like your money comes and it just goes to supporting everyone?
Yes. Even if you can be able to sustain yourself, you have people to support. Everyone come to you. All the dimension from your family, extended family, and everyone.
Are there a lot of people who feel this sentiment? Yeah. Okay, let's hear the last complaint and then we come to Ryan.
Yes, yes, a very good evening, Ryan and Mr. Nelson. My name is Manyuan Mayen. For those who do not know me, I'm a journalist. I write for news agencies, and I work for Oris Consulting as an associate consultant on strategic communications, media, and public relations. Basically, you know, in the context of South Sudan, I think I'm very loud enough, right?
No, I think it's being recorded. That's why we...
Yes.
George.
Yes. Let me move it is now all right. Yes. In the context of South Sudan, Ryan, you understand that the financial sustainability is extremely challenging simply because we have families who depend on few people as breadwinners. And in that context, you at the end of the day, they end up exhausting themselves compared to how they were supposed to really take the financial sustainability very serious. So at the end of the day, you know, it really affects the young people in terms of saving and also in terms of really, you know, and I must admit that most of the young people are very financially indisciplined. So as soon as they get the money, then you would get to see that in the 3 to 4 hours, the money is already exhausted. So, but in a nutshell, what is supposed to be done is these young people being equipped with technical skills such that they are able to sustain their finances, such that they are able to budget. Because most of us, like at the end of the month, you receive your money. If you ask 90% of us here, they don't They don't have the budget. What are you doing here? What are the priorities? So these are actually some of the things which are challenging among the young people.
Let me ask you, Manyon, like, what if you have the budget and the priority and someone tells you your brother impregnated a lady?
You unconditionally spend. Yes, there's no way. Because at the same time, we are in the families. If you don't do A, tomorrow you will be victimized and implicated. And if your problem comes tomorrow, you will be in the hot soup.
So let me get the mic back to we're giving you a crash course in South Sudanese cultural. What do you say to this? This challenges. Someone said like financial sustainability for me is I want to get as much as I can. Someone's saying I want to save the money, but at the end of the month, like everyone wants to ask me for some cash. How do I deal with that?
Well, no easy answer. But, you know, Nelson, what we're talking about is building the ecosystem. So your family members who are in need in this sense are probably also not involved in the formal financial sector. So they don't have access to the same tools that maybe you do, right? You deposit your money in a bank account, I assume, I hope. And in doing so, you gain access to credit. And as you go forward, you gain access to more credit because you repay, and we see that you have a back and forth relationship. We can build the trust between bank and client. So the more people that we start to bring into the system, the demands on individuals like yourself start to go down because they have access to the same tools you do. But it's a long process. We're doing it one by one, rising from 6%. We're hoping to get to 8%. We'll celebrate when we hit double digits because it means that each of these folks is then able to access these basics and start to climb the ladder. We're not even at the point yet of talking mortgages and home ownership and things along these lines. We're just talking about things like salary advances. Like we have a product right now that we're doing that if you're a company that pays their employees through our bank, so every month we process your payroll, we will extend a salary advance program for them. Because typically that company is paying out on a monthly basis for these advances that we're talking about, right? A funeral, a healthcare expense, the unexpected events of life. So that's coming out of the company pocket. I'm saying the bank should be doing that. Because if we're doing that, it means your company now has more liquidity to push forward, hire more people, expand a little more, grow the economy. So, but when we're doing that, when we're seeing your salary and your spending habits, we can calculate how much you can afford, how much we can lend you responsibly versus how much you can grab at maybe terrible rates from a non-bank lender. And that's going to further just trap you in a debt cycle. So we want to extend credit responsibly. But starting that process is getting on into financial inclusion through the bank account and moving forward.
So kind of getting more family members, more individuals to the banking system. So this question of saving, it also came here like saving and saving. Someone's saying that they want to be able to save 70%. That's very ambitious.
I want that client.
Someone says, maybe you can just educate, like what goes into the mentality of saving? Is it the culture? Is it the what? Like for me, I've reached a place now, for me to save, I need to put it into something that I can touch. This is a car, that is my saving. If I want to withdraw that saving, I sell it. Because I just realized I put money, I lock it behind what these rushed emergencies show up at my doorstep. Maybe you can just give us a bit of hint on savings.
Indeed, and you know, when we talk about putting it into a car, we're putting it into a depreciating asset. It's losing value. So you put your money in, but you've got less money as time goes on. Whereas if you're putting it into an account with us and locking it in for a month or 2 months, you're doing two things. You're putting it beyond your reach for the emergencies. You're also creating an opportunity to work with family members to say, you know, here's what I'm earning off of this. Let's look at this for the future for you. But a culture of savings is tough right now. Look at where the SSP is compared to the dollar and look at where it was a year ago. Look at the cost of maize in the market now versus 6 months ago. These are realities that we're dealing with every day. So the cost or the earnings, what we earn in our salaries, aren't necessarily rising at the same rate as the cost of living. So it's pretty tough for me to sit here as a banker and lecture anybody about saving.
So if someone is earning their salary in SSP, let me say a cleaner or what is earning probably $40,000 last year, and if she's earning the same now, her salary has halved.
Yeah.
I mean, technically based on the value of the goods, if stuff like that. So because the dollar goes up, and that's very challenging.
Exactly.
I want to kind of like move to talk about a little bit on women, and then we can talk about small scale and investments. Like, what are the challenges of including women in the financial system in this country? Like, I know people in this country who will be livid if their wife has a bank account that they don't know about. They will be, and I know a lot of women whose they can't get their own financial independence in their existence in the marriage, leave alone like younger women and the rest, or even access to financial systems and all the rest of family. What are the challenges kind of for including women and girls in the financial system?
You're right. We have some cultural norms that have to be adjusted, and there's a lot of work to do there. But we have a lot of organizations working on that, and we're growing. But also, let's look at it from the perspective of we're in a country where we have probably the highest rate of women-led households globally. So there's this natural need, because of the demographics of our society, that we have to provide relevant services. And I say relevant because how a woman is going to qualify for a loan or her needs in terms of lending products or banking products is going to be different than a man. So one of the first things we did a year ago was we said, we got to scrap this. We cannot just offer one size fits all. And I'm going to make a plea because I see several women in the audience who work professionally around town and so on, that we're still looking for a women's enterprise specialist to join our team. This is a good paying permanent job, and we want someone who's got this expertise to come in and work with us for a very long time. Because what we're doing is building products and services that are very relevant. They're different. Our women's banking window looks at things through a different lens. It comes with a lot more education, support, financial literacy. We go beyond just, here's the credit application, good luck. We sit down, we talk to our average female women leader in business, and we talk through what their needs are. So we gain a deeper understanding. And can I give an example of how this works? So I don't see her here today, unfortunately. But last time I was here, I met Honorable Jacqueline, an MP from Western Equatoria. And she cornered me and said, I want to meet you. So we sat down a few weeks later. And she brought a proposal from 3 women's groups. It's 185 women-led households in Western Equatoria, all working in agriculture. Not a single one of them can get access to credit. They need it. They need it to buy tools. They need it to buy seed. They need it to get their goods to market. And they need the float between planting and harvest to survive. So our team has worked well with her over the past, I think, 4 or 5 weeks. We met in early December. So last 6 weeks or so, we've sat, we've gained an understanding of their needs. And now because of an evening with 185 female-led households in South Sudan are going to have access to credit, and they're going to be building agriculture as a result.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of the serendipity and the linkages that we want to create here.
Exactly.
I see several women in the audience. I don't know if anyone wants to speak anything on women and access to finance, or even your own experience. The mic is floating because today we really want to have a conversation. Ryan and I don't want to say we know a lot about women. Yeah. So is there anyone who wants to kind of speak, a woman who wants to speak about either their experience with the financial sector or what they have experienced from their households or the women that they interacted with, or what they feel need to be done? We can pass the mic to anyone in the audience. Okay. Uh, any women in business, small enterprise? Yeah, let me hear from Atong.
Good evening, Nelson. Good evening, Ryan. Good evening, everyone. I'm not supposed to be talking today. That wasn't the aim of me coming. I was just here to listen and see what's going on, and we see how we tailor this around and how we project this in our strategy that we're working in. But I come from a house that was led by a woman. My mom was the head of the family. She's the one who did everything, and she depended a lot on her trades and her to make money and to raise all the family. So when I look at the way it was, we normally, as he was saying, that we need to find ways to give credit to women. That doesn't necessarily be the same for men. For instance, in our culture, we don't inherit. We don't inherit lands, we don't have assets as women, so it makes it very difficult for us to actually get credit when it comes to businesses. You could have business today, but it's just liquidated. I cannot buy land easily without my husband or my brother or my father being involved in it.
Is this still a culture? A lot of women can't buy land without a...
It is still in the culture. We can sit here, I could sit here and say, no, it doesn't affect me as a person, but it affects my elder sisters, for instance. I could have been broken out of this, but my elder sisters that are like 10 years older than me, they still go through this. The inheritance, they don't get anything from, they could have built a business with their husbands, but today they cannot use that assets that they have built to actually get credit to build their businesses that they were running anyway. So this is still something hindering women in businesses to actually get accessibility to credit and to grow their businesses. On the same sense, it comes to also that our husbands, our fathers, our brothers, they still feel that they own these businesses that we have, even though it's us who build it. I see women that go to the market every day. They sell that products. They come back with the money. They have to give it to the male in the house, even though they're the one who are working hard and they're the one doing the business. So it's still something we need to consider, how to give them accessibility to actually open accounts and have this inclusion in the banking system, and they see the need to do that. Also, when you are in the marriage, and we know how the marriage is in South Sudan, you don't have that. You cannot have your own side hustle and your own side business and your own bank account without your husband being a part of it. And it's always your money that's go for the emergencies that you were talking about. It's like, what are you going to do with this money? So you'll find most of South Sudanese women, what they use the money for is they go and buy gold. I don't go and buy land.
Yeah, that's something
Yes.
also in Sudan. A lot
Yes.
of women buy a lot of jewelry as a way of saving.
Yes, that's the way we save our money. That's how my mom saved money. That's how my aunties are saving. That's how all my sisters do it. Yeah? They don't go and put it in the bank, and they don't understand how the credit and how they have accessibility to other products when they actually bank. So they just go and buy jewelries, and when they run through hardship, they go and sell it out and then get the money. And okay, gold doesn't depreciate the same way that other things depreciate, but it's still at the end of the day, it's not making you money.
But
the way
it's an asset that can be stolen or
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of things that we need to think about it when we are talking about including women in the financial sector, and when we want to put them upfront in the banking system, we need to address those needs as according to our culture and the needs that this society needs to be specific.
Yeah. Let me kind of like ask the men, like, how many of you here are comfortable with your wife having bank accounts without you knowing? Are you okay with that? How about your wife buying assets, having land, what in her name, without so much you in it? That's a very question. With how money she works, she has her bank account, she bought few things. Yeah. Let's hear from the male perspective. Let me hear from the lady here, then we can give a gentleman. You can stand, maybe.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eva Arek. I'm happy to be here today. The sessions that always take place at Seniors Hub, I always come here because I benefit a lot. On the issue of finance, I did not topic of the day, and I just came. It's about Kush Bank and that there are no charges. It's something amazing that I read here. I'm a person actually who is a small entrepreneur. I hope books on the way. 22 years, and actually at university. How I actually managed to save my money, I used to give them to my friend. At the end of the day, I make money and then I come and give him, or at the end of the week, Monday to Friday, the money that I've accumulated, my profit, I give it to him because he's the one who has a bank account and I don't have. Another issue, I can purchase other things. Like if I want a goat, I can buy. If I want a chicken, I can buy. Or a cow, I can actually buy. And sometimes I will tell my friends, you help me during time for school fees. Somebody will say that I don't have money. And I said, don't you have a cow? You give me. People always they get surprised why a girl of my caliber wants a cow. Then I know I will go and sell that thing. Because what if it dies? You know, there's a lot of things that are affecting those cows. I go, I sell it, and I bring it, I keep my money. And then if I get a small boy also who wants to do a business and is actually interested in studies, the way I help you, I don't give you free money. I give you like 100,000 or 50, and then I said, which business do you want to do? Okay, do this. You be giving me this amount of money. In that way, he will actually not lose it easily. And also for my brothers of my age who are in school, they want me to help pay for them. And we have to have financial discipline in order for us to go forward. Like your brothers, they want school fees. If their school fees is 50,000, you said, what can you manage to raise? That is my first question. If you raise 25,000, I will give you the 25,000 because I know you are serious. But if you just give someone the whole of the thing like that, and in my own family, I have a kind of freedom because the things that I purchase, they are mine. There is no right to come and take my things away.
How long have you been running the book hawking business?
Since 2020.
Since 2020?
Yes, from this time up to October, then I will switch to selling Aliwara clothes in custom because I know that time those things are in high demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so the books you are able to make good cash per week.
Yes, yes.
And then so the money. When do you switch to Aliwara? Which month?
Chartamania.
Chartamania.
Yeah.
Now you get the bills, or how do you do Aliwara?
Yes, I purchase bulbs. I can actually transport them from outside, or I come here. So there is a way I do it actually to make money because that time there are a lot of people who are purchasing those cheap clothes, okay, to take to villages. We have people who are buy clothes for Christmas, even in Chartamania, okay? Yeah, they buy them cheap at that time. Up to December, I'm still selling. And when it comes to January, I switch back to the book business.
That is very impressive. And what are you studying at the University of Juba?
Actually, I'm doing business. I initially had a dream of being a medical doctor. I even started, but the school fees was too much for me, and I always move up and down. Then I shifted to the School of Business, and I'm doing well.
And you're 22 years old?
Yes.
Okay, there are a lot of people I need to bring to you so that you talk to them.
Okay.
They're like way older, and they're giving me a headache.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's George, let's bring the mic. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Let's just hear from Ryan, then we'll get to Toot, and then today we're doing a conversation. We're not doing. That's a very impressive. What do you think of that?
Oh, you're inspirational. Well done. You're doing exactly what you should be doing. Congratulations. And you're responding to market forces. Yeah. You're saving, you're diversifying your portfolio, you're doing everything that you should be doing. The only thing you could do better is maybe use our bank. Because, you're right. We will not charge you fees. Bring it in, keep it safe, take it out when you want it. That's what we're trying to encourage. And by getting into that pattern, what we can do is also see how we can help you, continue to grow and expand as you go from 22 to 25 and grow that business. So our motto is your trusted business partner. And my team has to live that. When we take someone on as a client, particularly a small business, we dive in because we have to understand what their needs are. Not just today, but where are you taking this business? What are you doing with it? Because quite often putting a solution together either for financing or liquidity requires a bit of time. It's got to go through our process, and so we want to understand, what your goals are for the long term.
And I mean, she's actually a new breed of. I meet a lot of South Sudanese like you, because you know, back in the day, like from 2005 to 2011, then 2011 to 2013, South Sudanese were just, we were bosses. You go, South Sudanese were not waitresses, South Sudanese were not doing chapati, South Sudanese were not selling anything. All of it is just, if you're a young person, you ask money to buy anything. Why should you go and do all the stuff? But now you can see a shift. I see so many people like you. I see young men and women doing airtime business. Like even in this premise, we have about, our staff here is like about 8 people. Some in the kitchen, Pony Zone who manages them. Some in the kitchen. We actually have a very interesting range of staffing in this place. There's a young woman who comes, she stays in the cemetery here. There is a slum in the cemetery. She stays there and she works with Pony. What is she's a cleaner? Yeah, she cleans here. So she comes, she cleans, and she gets her daily pay. She goes back and uses it. And we have a lot of young people also who kind of involved. I think the theme with this is really more South Sudanese picking up their own weight, because it's a very tough economy. It's a very, very tough. And here we have a long leash. In East Africa and Kenya, a lot of my friends, as soon as you go to university, you don't come to your father's house. You finish university, you're gone. That is it. No one gives you money, no one gives you shelter, nothing. I think for us here, we have long leash. You can even bring your wife. You stand. So I think you are actually a representative of a wider change and a wider trend. And I know when you're doing this, you think like, maybe no one cares. But believe you me, in a few years, you will see the fruits of this because you already learned the financial independence. And I think that's partners like Kush Bank and the rest are here to do that. Yeah. I think, Ryan, are you okay with this? We're doing conversation. So we hear from them, we hear from you.
Perfect.
Yeah. We will come into the theme of kind of like small enterprises, and then I'll get back to that. But I asked a question here, and I asked like, how many of you guys are okay with your wife having her own bank accounts, having her own assets? She's just there. She shows up in the evening. Hi. Sorry, I just went to buy a few pieces of land. Gives one of the kids, go and keep these papers inside. I want to hear from Arol, and Arol was like, with whose money? So let's hear from the men a bit on that.
If it's a role, it's going to be an interesting answer.
Let's hear from Arol on that. You can stand up.
Good evening. Nelson, how you have put it towards the end, you would disagree. There's no way your wife is going to go wherever she wants, then says hi in the evening. That's not possible. But I think the people who would be able to give practical experience are those who have married. They would understand how they would feel. But now, personally, we need to understand that based on our traditional practices, we have been conditioned to take up the responsibility of providing for the family. So you find out that most of the times, husbands don't care about what their wives have. They don't. So but what our women do is that instead of investing and owning assets, they start investing this money on their brothers and sisters on the other side. So they take the money from you, they take it to their family, and they invest on that side. Now I would have a problem because my children are not going to benefit. But if she's investing for her own and she's owning these assets, I would not have an issue, personally.
But you think if the assets is being transferred, she's helping more, she's just investing on her brothers?
No, if I've paid 100 cows for you, you're not supposed to take resources back. You can't.
Okay, is there a lady who wants to answer to that? Okay, give the mic to Atong. She has.
Arol, I don't know what I'm going to say about this, but you're so much in trouble today. So here's the thing. In our normal traditional, so we both come from, we're Dinka, yeah? Me and Arol. So in a proper Dinka household in the village, men do not provide anything except the cows, okay? Women are the one who take the majority load. Women are the one who cultivate. Women who are the one who take care of the children, are the one who take care of the house. Like even the house, are women who built it. So we need to be clear about this. In our cultural norm as Dinka, is women who take care of everything. Men, they will play a weight all day long, okay? That's what you guys do, yeah? But women are the one who are going to go and cultivate, take care of the children, take care of your own friends and your family in the house. You paying 100 cows doesn't mean that when I go and do something with my own hands, I have to come and spending back at your own, with your permission on the ways that you think is right. Yeah. It's my sweat, it's my hard work. I got the right to actually build something for myself. And if I decided I want to invest some of that in my, back in my family, it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Yeah, because the man can just decide to go and buy, like, take his brothers,
yes,
the kids of someone that they know in the village.
And in that house, I'm still taking care of his siblings and his family. It's still they're staying with me in the house, and I'm taking care of them. So it's not that like I'm taking everything out. But in that sense, we need to empower our women, because tomorrow you will go and get another 100 cows and marry another woman. You will have 4 women. Why should I be investing all my hard work in your house when we are sharing it with other 4 or 5 women? So let me do what I need to do. We are just taking this back to the tribal.
Okay, thank you so much, Atong, for that. Let me hear from Toot. I think he had something that he wanted to contribute on this.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Mayang Toot. Okay, let me stand up. My name is Mayang Toot. Concerning the point of women having the own accounts here, or maybe buying anything that they want, I don't think it's something wrong here. Okay, I mean, I don't think it's something wrong globally, but in South Sudan here, with the law that we have, it doesn't support that. Because, you know, a woman might be doing, I mean, you and your woman might be having a joint account where if majority of the money that are coming into that account belong to the woman, and then you guys had an issues, there's no law that is going to support all the money to be given to the woman. But in the other country, it should be given to the woman. I feel like women should be having their own kind of the hustle that they do, I mean, the way that they do their own saving, but in a sense whereby you convince your husband, you see? You convince your husband that I'm doing this for the sake of the family, for the sake of the kid, the school fee, things can come up, you see? If you get a man like this, of course, some other men can understand that.
What about the man? Should the man tell the woman what they're doing with their money? Also, this is what I...
You see, this is something called partnership. When you guys get along together, there's nothing that you guys can hide from each other. To be sincerely honest, if I got married, I can hide everything from anyone, but not from my wife.
These women are coming after you after this show.
That is it. Okay?
Yeah.
So because, you know, it's the only person that know every single thing about you, about what you do, the other kind of investment that you're doing. So that is it. There's no reason that you can hide something from your partner, because this is the reason why you leave your mom and your dad and you stay with the other person that you get married to. So there's nothing wrong about that.
Yeah.
But in the other world, there is a sense of division. If there's a divorce that happened, there's a right way of how the asset can be divided in both sides.
Yeah.
Okay, if this thing can happen in South Sudan, then there will be no any problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Toot. Okay, guys. So because we want to move and talk about enterprise and then close it, let me hear from the gentleman in suit next to our role, and then I'll get 2 more opinions. Be very concise. I just want to hear, like, what is your opinion, kind of like women inclusion in the financial sector, especially in partnerships?
Thank you. My name is Franco. Thank you, Ryan, and the colleague. It's very interesting. A role is telling things that he has no experience on when it comes to women. I am surprised. Yes, as I said, my name is Franco. It is very interesting today to be here with the socio-economic women's empowerment. Very interesting because I have so many women groups, and these are the challenges they usually tell us. That sometimes their men comes back, they are drunk, they snatch back the little money they have made. The lady coming back crying. You ask yourself, how can you support this woman again? We have about 15 circle group. The gentleman here is saying, yes, if this is your woman, why do you hide so many things from her? At the end of the day, when you die, she's going to inherit many things to take care of your kids. So the question here is, when you talk of social or financial inclusion, what are we talking of? Do these women have access to financial services? That's the question. And that's why Kush Bank is here today. Kush Bank is here to bring nearer financial services. And we are here to advise these women. How do you save your money? How do you prevent these men from searching your bags? Because we know these men are very chaotic. They will never leave you alone. Many of these men, unfortunately, some of them are not. But the ones who are married, you will testify with me, that it's better to give this money to your wife. It will be safer because she can provide for the family. You will come back, eat that same food, even if you don't have money, than to go and drink. So the idea here is Kush Bank is trying to come closer and ensure that we support this women group. And how do we support this women group? Give them advisory services. Our women are crying of taxes, economic policies. We have very bad cultural background. These issues of inheritance, sitting on women's right, that is the problem. But when you have a Muzungu like Ryan today among us, he's opening our eyes. It's very interesting. He's trying to show us part of what is happening in Canada, that the same thing can be done here in South Sudan. We live in global village. It is just few minutes to Canada, few hours to Canada, you'll be there and come back to South Sudan. So, as youth, I have heard so many people talking of financial sustainability. You don't have enough money. For you to be financially sustainable, meaning your cash inflow must be higher than your cash outflow. If you have enough cash inflow and less cash outflow, then you are good to go. But there's no way you will continue to say, I need more and more. Age is also on you, my brother. Age is running after you. So the question here is that I get back to you, as I get back to you and Ryan, is that these women need to be supported. And how are we going to support them? The Pope has been here. If you want peace, support them.
Okay.
If you don't want peace, go against them.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's get the mic back. Ton, let's get the mic. We just want to finalize by really talking about investment. It's really a very good, this is a very interesting.
You can tell I have a very spirited team.
Yeah, very, very spirited and very passionate.
And I think, also as a service, I think I can mention that I believe a role is also single, ladies.
But his conditions are very tight.
Very tight.
So, we want to finish this by talking about investment in terms of really impact investment or lending or equity. What is the landscape for investment, especially in youth and women?
The landscape right now it's a bit fragmented, because there's no formal lending system in the country. We don't have a land registry that works. We don't have a credit bureau. So typically, as a banker, you go and you say, okay, show me that you own your land. And we have a registry system that across the country has full integrity to it. And we don't have that yet, but we're working on it. The wheels are in motion with other parties, not with us. And likewise, you know, we would be able to say to you, okay, I'm going to run a credit bureau check on you to know, you know, do you pay your bills and so on. We don't have that either. So the investment and the lending opportunities have been a bit difficult to do. Now, we're taking steps to overcome that, and we're doing it in a risky fashion in terms of we don't have those mechanisms behind us. When I'm talking about the close to 200 women through the Western Equatoria, these are uncollateralized loans. So
that means they're not guaranteed.
That's right. There's no guarantee. Bank is at risk, not them. But I am happy to lend to women because the repayment rate or the default rate with women is like 1-2%. It's incredibly unrisky for a bank to lend to women. So here we sit in a country with a majority of women-led households where I'm trying to talk about financial inclusion and when we're hearing some of these challenges and I'm going, this is an incredible opportunity to drive growth in the economy by creating credit programs and other economic supports that are specifically tailored towards women. So that's where we're starting from. Now,
let me take you back in the, like, even if you have that, what do you call it, the rule of law, that's also a very important thing because someone told me like there are places where like, yes, the person brought you the land title, it is legit and everything, and they borrow money, they take it, they don't pay, you come, you're like, okay, I want to repossess it, and they're like, okay, I'm here with my AK-47, and this is my land, so
yeah.
So that's also an issue.
It's absolutely an issue. You know, we have a whole legal department that just runs this stuff down and then runs back again to check it 3 more times because it's a very fluid environment. I actually spent the majority of today with a group who they have the contract to digitize the land registry in the country, and we're helping them to arrange the cash to do that because it's about a $5 million project, and there's no money for it. So we're digging around to find from international partners how we make that happen because it's these underpinnings that are needed to grow.
What do you tell this international partner? Like, I'm from South Sudan. They're like, okay, let me Google it. War, something.
Yeah.
What do you tell these international partners to convince them to give money?
Well, it starts like anything else, like building the relationship and showing transparency and building trust. So it takes probably 5 times longer to close a transaction because of all of these elements that we have to go through. We have to prove ourselves so much more for a basic transaction than we would if we were doing the same thing from Uganda or Kenya. But we're good at that. We're helping companies. As I said, it was 5 hours today working with a leading company from South Sudan to talk to them about, no, this is the process we will guide you through. Because as your trusted business partner, it's our job to provide the service, to help educate, to help you with the financial literacy, to move from this pitch that you're doing to a pitch that your international partners will understand. So we're more than just cash in, cash out. It's got to be these added services to help build capacity in the country.
Are there more companies who seek such services with you?
We have more than we can handle. It's a wonderful problem. What was it, 6 months ago at Oil and Power, we announced that we were going to help Ezra Group and Jedco raise $113 million for renewable energy and building an energy value chain. It's been 6-8 months of hard work to do that because we have to rebuild. We have to put everything in a format that people understand with the context of doing business in South Sudan. We have an uphill battle, but we have a great team in Nairobi. We have a great team in Dubai that help us overcome those challenges.
What about, this is the big fish, 10 million, 5 million. What about some of the people here who would probably want to raise 50,000, 150, okay.
1,000.
1,000, yeah.
Those are the ones I'm passionate about. It's people, like we have Rachel on our team, and all of these people in white shirts behind her. They're going out to markets every day of the week. They're pitching tents in front of our branches because you know what we discovered was the average person in South Sudan who doesn't have a collared shirt like you or a blazer like me feels intimidated to step through the doors of my bank. That's for people in suits with lots of money, not for your average person who's digging a ditch. But we want that person who's digging the ditch just as much as we want the big fish, as you say. So I'm passionate about the person who needs $50, $500, $1,000 because the impact that you're going to make in this economy is going to be incredible. But I also need you to take one of the first steps. It's not going to cost you anything. Come in, talk to these people, see them on the street, open that account, start down that journey with us. And then we can open a lot of doors for you.
Yeah. And so at this stage, I'll want to take a few questions and then we can close it. Since this has been a conversation, I think we have been talking, so I wouldn't expect like a lot of questions. So I'll take a few questions and then Ryan will answer and then we can, and Tony, you can, or George, you can have the mic. Okay, I can see hands, one here, two. Okay, let me come to Animu here in the middle, then the lady, then I'll come. It's Salwa, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Thank you, Nelson and Ryan and Kush, for sort of bridging the knowledge gap, especially on the subject of financial inclusion. My question probably was about the women, but also the young people, and trying to relate that to the current political dispensation. The agreement provides for the Youth Enterprise Development Fund and also the Women Enterprise Development Fund. I think the Ministry of Gender has proceeded to sort of craft legislation around the Affirmative Action Bill, but also to see how that would be crafted into legislation. What role do you think private banks or private financial institutions can play in sort of catalyzing that to happen for young people so that it also makes it easy for commercial banks like yourself, Kush Bank and others, to de-risk doing business for businesses for like AREC, right? Yeah, for AREC or other people like that who typically, you know, they're not your typical small or micro enterprise, but they have documents to show that, or they have history to show that this is what they're doing and this is how much they're getting out of it and sort of consistency and pattern. So I just wanted to have reflections around that from your perspective as a commercial bank. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very specific one, so I don't want to try to circle back to that. Thank you. It's a great question. And you talk about de-risking, and that's important because when we heard from Temba and AFDB, so there's a great example of how we're working on de-risking. They're able to provide capital into our bank. They're able to onward lend so that we make our pie bigger, so that we can lend to more people and we can get a broader credit portfolio going. And in doing that, it lowers our risk. We can take a higher level of risk on, maybe less collateral, less background from the client, because we have 10,000 loans going instead of 2,000 loans. So a lot of that, whether it's the enterprise funds or international partners or even other banks outside of South Sudan, like Afrexim, for instance, we're working on a facility with them right now for trade finance so that we can do more with less from our books and we can leverage a little farther as a result. So that's helping us to respond. But a lot of that, Animu, is also going to be around designing frameworks that make sense, like for women in particular. What are the needs and what are the tripping points? We've heard of some of the tripping points. So how we put those programs together not only comes down to the risk, but also the operation.
Yes, my question goes to you as Ryan. I hope you've been following most of the I will take it back direct, that is to the National Minister for Youth and Sport, and she has spoken about youth enterprise, and he spoke about earlier on about investment for us, more especially like youth. There's something which I always learned about bank, which I usually follow. When I need a credit from a bank, the condition is when they wanted to give me, they will need to know the asset which I'm having, for example, like a plot. Here in Juba, most of us as a youth, we are not having plots. We are living in the family plots. But I have the idea. I may come out with the proposal of what I wanted to do. then the condition of the bank is always you need to submit something back which will show that you are capable of, in case if you fail to pay back, we shall bring. Then according to the National Minister for Youth and Sport, it says 72% of the population of the country is the youth. Out of 72%, 10% of them are the one owning, that is a bank account. Not 10, usually say 2%, who are owning a bank account. And with this scenario, what are you planning to convince more of these youth? And some of them who are not having plots because that's a guarantee. So for me, like I can write a proposal to have that bank account because plots are very expensive in Juba. I cannot afford to buy, but what are you convincing me so that in case I have the proposal, I'm attended into your office, I need a loan. I wanted to do this business because I've seen how things are going. Because in this country, we're having like two types of economy. There's a political economy and there's a crisis economy, which is dealing with us more especially in this country. How are we going to tackle this? Thanks.
Great question. And here's the basic answer. Traditional banking doesn't work here at the moment. So I can't sit here as a traditional banker and say, bring me your plot. It's nonsense, right? Even if you brought me your plot today, there's really no integrity that is 100% behind that ownership document, right? We've got no digitized registry, nothing I can search easily. I got to send lawyers all over the place to check it out. It's going to take a fortune in due diligence fees for my bank to do that. So we have to approach your idea differently, right? We have to think outside the box and we have to be a little innovative in our approach. And that's what we're doing. We've built a credit department of people who sit down with you, walk through your idea, and gain an understanding, not only of the idea, but of who you are. We can't base this also off of assets. We're starting from zero in so many cases. So we have to take the risk on our side. We have to take the first step. So we work with you to ensure that it's a good business idea. We chat with people like here at Senius to gain a better understanding of how does this fit in the market? Is this going to work? And then once we are comfortable with it, then you're absolutely right. We're going to take a chance on you. No doubt.
So I really want to open it up, but I think I'm afraid that we'll have to close it here. I know Rachel and her team have a small bit of the program to do. This has been a conversation. Thank you so much, Ryan, for this. You can clap for that. Today we changed the format a bit. That's why we're not doing a lot of questions at the end, because we have been talking. I think probably like you guys have been talking more than we did. So nothing has been lost. A lot of the information have been absorbed. And I think we are working on something with Kush Bank to bridge some of these the discussions that we're having here. Because from the youth side, you also need to lean in. We need to formalize a little bit, and the bank also need to listen to us a little bit. But if we're standing here and the bank and the formal economic system is here, there will be no point of connection. But definitely there is something to be done there. I'll kind of like allow it to, I don't know, Rachel, how we're going to do this. I think we'll sign something, right? And we'll do an announcement. Okay, yeah. George and the rest, can you get for us one table, the other smaller table from inside? Just push it down. Rachel has prepared something. I don't want to. So just push it up.
Sure.
So
okay.
yeah, so we've been discussing with Kush Bank for the last few months on like modalities to partner. And I think there were like two main things that kind of came up. It's like one of it, we want to do a bit of support for seniors here, because we run a very operational intensive kind of operation. So we're always seeking partners. So we kind of forge a partnership with Kush Bank to do support for the space, but also to run a longer term program on financial inclusion. So I think part of the idea is that we will have a lot of the people who come here to access also financial service from Kush Bank, and also to access a lot of programs on financial literacy. So how do we ensure, you can bring it here. How do we ensure that more of the youth have access to finance? How do we run financial literacy programs in this place? And I think later on there is more discussions on investment, but it's still in the pipeline. But give and take, we should see an announcement on that relatively soon. Yeah, I think I don't know if Ryan wants to say something on it.
Sure. So you're right, Nelson. You know, talking about financial inclusion means we've got to come out from behind the desk, right? You're not coming to me. I need to come to you. And it's spaces like here at Senius where youth are comfortable, where this is your space, not mine. So we've been chatting with Nelson and the team about how we can do something meaningful, though. And so often in sponsorship and corporate social responsibility, it's us telling you what we want and not you telling us what you need. So at Kush, we've really been turning that around in terms of how we approach this. And quite often what you hear is, okay, we're willing to make an investment in this program and we're willing to pay for these things only. But it doesn't give you as an organization the flexibility to meet core operating expenses. So what we wanted to do is, number one, say, you're doing an incredible job. Please keep it up. And to do that, we want to make monthly cash available to you to support your core operating expenses for the next year. So that you have the stability for the next 12 months to have the lights on, to keep doing events like this, and to keep doing what you do well. So the support from Kush for the next 12 months is several thousand US a month in SSP. And we just want you to keep doing what you're doing. Keep up the great work. And yes, we'll be here. We'll send our team members, and they're going to be in and out. And we're happy to run at our cost forums on financial inclusion and literacy and so on. But this money is geared to you. Keep doing what you're doing. It's important work. You're making a great impact, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. I mean, this is really, and I also like to speak from our end, you know, and I think that's probably some of the things that go behind the curtains. So to run this place, and I was telling someone one day, I was telling somebody, like, you know, when you show up here in the morning, usually this door is open at around 8, times even 7:30. And more often than not, we'll have one person coming at that time. So when you show up here, you find that the place has been cleaned, the power is on. There are people who have prepared this place when we have such an event, there are seats and what. So it actually takes a lot of operational cost from our end. And usually for us, the balance is that, like, and as I said in the podcast that I was interviewed in, like, we want to ensure that we make this place conducive, but we don't want to push the cost of this place so much until we just become a meeting place for lawyers who are doing deals. So we don't want to make the cost prohibitive. That's why, like, the basic cost for entering Seniors is actually zero. So you can come here, use the power, use the Wi-Fi, use the seats and everything, and watch football. The cost for that is zero. So that is the idea with it. But for that to happen, that's why, like, partners like Kush Bank with this kind of support supports the staffing, supports a lot of the cooperation, so that, like, more people are able to come and sit and have that kind of a discussion. And the idea is that removing what is the barrier to engage, what is the barrier to create. And I think that's what we are very thankful for Kush Bank for. Yeah. So Rachel, so I'm told you need to come and guide us. So I'm told, like, I need to sign this. I haven't been into the government, so I need to sign this and hand it to Ryan, and Ryan needs to sign that and hand it to me. Both of us stand up and take pictures. Okay, good. Then that yes, is. So there are a lot of people who have been asking me about financial inclusion programs. So Rachel, myself, and Henry Bidal, I don't know where he is. Bidal, are you here? Yeah, maybe you can come to say. So Bidal is the CSR lead for Kush Bank. Together with our team, with Ton and the rest, we'll be working. So you'll see joint programs here and also in other places. So in case you have any questions on financial literacy, saving and the rest, we'll be running monthly programs in this place, jointly with Kush Bank. And then down the line, we'll have some few announcements on impact investment, primarily on youth enterprise. And the idea of this agreement is also a catalyst for other partners to come invest in this place and invest in the youth. Thanks.